I'd like to teach you a very simple form of meditation that allows us to explore the nature of the thoughts that we have as we think, because inherently the mind has this way of thinking. And so what we'll do in this practice is we'll use our breath as an anchor for the meditation. And then we'll track the nature of the thoughts that we have. And the nature of the thoughts that we have will be one of three categories: thoughts about the future, thoughts about the past, or thoughts that are in our imagination. Somehow a thought that's not rooted in reality. And at times as we do this practice, it might be hard to distinguish one from the other. It's important to not try and overthink this. And so the way that the practice will go is that we will, as always, sit with the breath as our anchor. And then as thoughts come up, we'll label the thoughts as being a future thought, a past thought, or a thought that exists in our imagination. It's almost as if we're taking those thoughts and putting them into a filing cabinet, filing them away. And then once we file those thoughts, we'll come back to the breath as our anchor, and we'll continue this process. It's a way of bringing a bit more clarity, understanding to the nature and the quality of the mind. So begin by sitting up comfortably in your chair, on the floor, or lying down. And take a couple breaths through your nose or your mouth. And try to breathe in a way that feels supportive for you. It doesn't have to be a very long breath or breath through the nose. It can absolutely be through the mouth as well. But a breath that feels like an ability to relax a little bit, to relax into the breath. So take a few of those on your own. As you settle into your breath, if you find that moving around a little bit, adjusting your position feels like it would be helpful, you're more than welcome to do that as well. We don't want this practice to feel like a rigid practice. Meditation shouldn't be rigid. Working with the mind is hard enough as it is on its own. So move around, adjust, and find yourself seated in a way that feels supportive for you. And from here, let's bring our attention onto the breath. There's many ways of working with the breath. You can focus on the sound of the breath as you breathe, if there's an audible quality to it. You can focus on the feeling of the breath moving in the body, perhaps a rising of the belly and a falling of the belly, or a rising of the chest and the falling of the chest. Or if you have a hard time connecting to the breath through a felt sense or through listening with the ears, you can also count the breath, adding a count to the length of the breath. For example, breathing in for the count of 1, 2, and 3, and breathing out for the count of 3, 2, and 1. So in some way, you're developing this relationship and connection to the breath. So again, as you take the next couple breaths, either listening to the breath, feeling the breath in the body, or adding a count to the breath. And as we continue to do this, we'll stay here for a couple minutes. I'd say 4 or 5 minutes, something like this. And as we stay here and stay connected with the breath, inevitably at some point in time, the mind is going to do what it does and think. When you catch the mind thinking, notice if the thought is a present thought, such as, I'm feeling hungry, I heard a sound, how long have I been here, things like this. Or it could be a past thought, like, don't know why I said that to that person, that's not how I truly felt. Or reflecting upon the work week that's behind. A past thought can be about something you've done years ago even. Or a thought that's our imagination. something that we're just creating in our head. And as I mentioned, sometimes these nature of thoughts blend together, get confusing. Try not to overthink it. There's no right or wrong. But as you sit here with your breath and a thought arises, label the thought as a past thought or a present thought in our imagination or a future thought, and then come back to the breath. What we're doing here is becoming the observer of our own mind. And coming back to the breath after each time that we notice a thought. Future thought, I see you. Back to the breath. Thought about the past, I hear you. Back to the breath. Some sort of imaginatory thought, back to the breath. The process continues like this. As I mentioned before, there's no right or wrong way of doing this practice. It's not a game and there's no winning. We come back to the breath as many times as we need to. Our hope is, our wish is that by noticing the breath, noticing the thoughts, acknowledging the thoughts, coming back to the breath, the mind has a leaning towards the present moment, an inclination to stay here and not try and get our attention. Let's take another breath in and out together. Letting go of the breath. Feel the feet on the floor, your hips in your chair. Perhaps you roll out the wrists a couple times. Stretch the neck. And then slowly from there, blink the eyes open, coming back into the room, to your space. Thank yourself for making the time to practice, and as always, to ourselves and to each other, to the practice, to the teachings, to the yoga and the meditation tradition. Thank you so much for practicing with me.